Dun 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 dun. Fuck your god, fuck your god, fuck you fucking fuck your god, fuck your god, fuck your god. I don't know. It just kind of going with the beat there for a second. Who knows? I have no idea where the hell I dragged that out of my ass, but fuck your god. Dun, dun, fuck your god, fuck your god, fuck your god. I don't know. Hi, Eric. This is Matthew, the Odd Atheist Friends, and we're in episode, what, 70? 70.
70. Because last one was 69 and it fucked up, and I still haven't fixed it.
69.
I gotta
Okay.
fix it.
Oh, yeah. We'll see.
I hope my internet doesn't cut out again. I'm gonna fucking kill it.
Yeah. When I lived in my shitty ass apartment, I had crappy internet that kicked out all the time too. So it made me super mad all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, video games don't make gamers violent. Lag makes gamers violent.
Yeah. Speaking of lag, I just thought about World of Warcraft and how that was like basically the first game. I mean, like the first real game I played with other people. Because before that, I had only had consoles that didn't connect to the internet, like PlayStation, PlayStation 2, Super Nintendo, stuff like that. So it was all playing by yourself. So WoW, I had the shittiest laptop you could imagine. And I was playing WoW on the lowest setting possible. And I had the worst internet also because I lived down a dirt road in the middle of North Carolina. So just imagine how bad the internet was. It was like a step above dial-up.
Wow.
It was so bad. So how was I running this game? I kept crashing and everything, but I was very determined to play it because it was my only means of having fun and escaping how terrible life was. But, so yeah, I played it a lot with terrible lag and terrible graphics.
And people hated you on the other side.
Oh, yeah, and you know why? Because I was the healer, too. So, yeah, I was the healer, and then they're like, oh, God, why did I die? And I'm like, I don't know. I've just been standing at the beginning, like, the fucking past 10 minutes, because it's lagged.
Wow.
Yeah, it's terrible, but
anyway. If you're a meat shield, that's okay. But not the healer. Yeah. The healer's got to be good. Life is my favorite adventure. It really is, because without life, there is no adventures, because other than that, you're just dead.
That's true. If you're not watching this, which you most likely aren't, I have a mug that says life is my favorite adventure, and I really like it.
It's a cool mug.
I think I got it for $1 somewhere.
Did you buy that for $1?
Uh-huh.
I'll buy that for $1.
Speaking of money.
RoboCop.
Oh. Yeah.
Cop back in the day.
Oh.
Anyways.
Speaking of money, I was watching a video this morning about Bill Gates on Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah.
And they played this game called Bill's Grocery Bills. And there was like 5 items. Like standard items people might buy at the grocery store. There was a Rice-A-Roni box, a box of Tide Pods, some pizza rolls, some spinach dip, and some floss. Okay? And Bill Gates, billionaire, doesn't do his own shopping, doesn't go shopping, has absolutely no sense of anything, right? So he's supposed to guess the price within $1, kind of like Price is Right style. And if he gets 3 out of the 5 within $1, the audience gets a prize. And the first 2, he guesses, guess how much, okay, you know a fucking box of Rice-A-Roni. How much do you think he guessed that was?
$5. How much he thinks he
did! He said $5! And everybody was like, oh my God. And then it's like, boom, it's $1, you know?
Yeah, Rice-A-Roni's cheap.
Yeah, and then we go to this big thing of Tide Pods, and you know fucking laundry detergent is expensive as fuck.
Yeah, it is.
And guess what he guessed a giant thing of Tide Pods was?
$2.
He said $4. And then it's like, boom, $20. And he's like, oh my God. And then there was like this bag of pizza rolls, and he's like, oh, $22. It was like $7. Anyway, it's just crazy how out of touch with reality billionaires and millionaires, I suppose, can be. Rich people can be. Like, they don't, I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny because, like, Trump said the same thing last year about having to show ID grocery shopping.
Yeah. Yeah. When you gotta go buy milk, look at my ID.
Exactly. I mean, there comes to a point when you literally like these people have no concept of what's actually going on. You can get divorced from everything that's happening. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's just beneath you, you know. Um, like the King of France before Louis the 14th or whatever it was got beheaded. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, the Emperor of Japan, all that kind of stuff. Do you really think he has any idea really what's going on out there in the country? No, probably not, because it doesn't really affect him. And he doesn't really have to do with any of the laws. That's the legislature does. He's a fucking figurehead. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
you know?
It's interesting, I guess, because all the people, I mean, Bill Gates, I think he's a good billionaire. Like, I think he donates a lot of money. He helped pay for my fucking education. Like, I think he
Yeah.
does good stuff. But like when it comes to people like our politicians and Trump and stuff, and they are very wealthy, and the people that are voting for them think that they're representing us, and it's fucking insane.
No.
Like, how could they ever represent us? Like, maybe if someone like really truly came up from the bottom, maybe. But it is so hard to go up.
Yes. And it's getting even harder to go up.
Yeah.
It's getting even harder to go up with, I feel like, wages being kept artificially low and that kind of stuff. So it's just harder just to even just get ahead. So, I mean, when we had apologetics on and they were talking about how everybody's got to have a side hustle, it's like, I think the side hustle's bullshit. The people who are trying to take away all of the stuff now, like Mitch McConnell's and that kind of stuff, like his generation of people came in right after World War II. So they had the strong unions where they could work on just the one salary, and mom was stay at home and took care of the kids, and they had a new car every 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that way in America anymore. They're totally disconnected.
Yeah. Yeah, I was having a conversation yesterday about this kind of stuff, and like just where I've changed economically, kind of, and how I've come up some. But so like I started as essentially white trailer trash. Like literally, grew up in a trailer in
Yeah.
the middle of nowhere, right? And my parents, they could have gotten food stamps at points. They could have gotten us on Medicaid. They didn't, because they're stubborn and they'd rather us go hungry than get food and help, right?
Yeah.
That's how a lot of people have that mindset, especially in the South. I don't know anywhere, but especially the South, people have that
It's
mindset.
that it's that we're okay, we don't need any fucking help thing. It's
Yeah,
bullshit.
it is. But so anyway, I have that mentality kind of in my head, like, because
It's
that's how I
hard
was
to
raised.
it's hard to break out of. I think that my family probably could have qualified for a lot of stuff and didn't take it because of stigmatism. Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And so I remember times, getting stuff like the government cheese and that kind of stuff. Do I know where they got it from? No, I don't. No, I don't. We might have been on help at some point. I feel that we probably should have. Because I
Right.
remember telling my grandma that I needed $2 every day to go to lunch,
Mm-hmm.
when I was in high school, or pack me a lunch. So, anyways, I remember being like super poor and having to do all of this stuff, and it was a struggle, and you know, and then not only that, but having to maintain that outward look of your family that something was okay. Yeah, you were poor, but you were okay trying to go on. And so it was just difficult to try to do that. And so, yeah, life sucked when you're doing stuff like that. And I really wish we could have gotten the aid at the time, but we didn't. And I wish we could have. So, yeah. So I was just explaining Eric about getting aid and all that kind of stuff. Eric had a work phone call, and so that's how come Eric kind of clipped out for a second.
Yeah, sorry, I'm on call because that's what you get when you work at a nonprofit and you don't want to make very much money, but do extra work all the time. What? I'm sorry.
Yeah, what? So I was just explaining about, I'm sure most of our 3 listeners will understand about being poor. So.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I have to send work texts too. It's great. Okay. I mean, yeah, so I was talking about like yeah, so I started out being really poor and then we were in this mindset, of like you have to work for what you want, you have to work yourself out of it, right? And so that's what I did. I mean, not that I'm necessarily out of it, but I worked a lot and that's kind of how that was one of my coping skills too, was just working as much as fucking possible so I didn't have to deal with my feelings and my depression and everything else. And so I worked like 2 to 4 jobs my entire fucking life until now. This is my first time working like one job, even though I still have side hustles too. But yeah, and I never knew I probably could have qualified for aid or something if I wasn't working so much. Right? The thing is, like, there's this awful and annoying spot to be in where if you're working very few hours and you're struggling, you can apply for aid. But if you're working hell a lot and you're making minimum wage, you're still going to fucking struggle. And you should still be able to get help, Like, a lot of these people, I think, especially if you have a family, should be able to get food stamps or Medicaid because if you're working 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week in these minimum wage or slightly above minimum wage jobs, you're not going to be able to afford fucking rent and food. You're definitely not going to afford medical care. And that's why, I mean, I'm not saying everybody should get Medicaid. I'm saying we should have universal health care, but
Yeah.
we need like a fundamental system change. Everything needs to change. You know what I mean?
We do. I entirely understand. I am catching what you're pitching. I definitely get it.
So, like, and I was in that middle ground for so long. Like, I was having, like, such bad mental health issues. And the only reason I had any form of help was because I was in college and they had some free counseling. Free. I mean, I was paying hella money for college. But then they eventually turned me away, too. They were like, look, if this is supposed to be short-term counseling only, you have to go out and find your own. And I'm like, well, I don't have insurance, so how am I going to go find my own counseling? And they're like, I don't know, good luck. And I'm like, hello, I'm actively suicidal. And they're like, we can commit you. That's all we can do for you now. And I'm like, oh, thanks.
Wow.
Yeah. And now that I've gone up in, like, another tier, I guess, so I started absolutely nothing. Then, like, that weird in between. Now I'm at a place where I have a full-time job. I have insurance. It still fucking sucks because I have such a high deductible. I'm like $2,700 in debt just from counseling and my testosterone appointments. And it's just like, how am I ever supposed to catch up to that? And along with paying my own rent and fucking any bills I have. Like, it's just everything keeps piling up. And like before I was barely surviving. Now I'm like kind of surviving and have like enough money to eat, sure. But shit, life's fucking hard. No matter what tier you're at, I guess. I mean, until you get to a certain like, wow,
Yeah.
Now I can not have to think about that $1 box of Rice-A-Roni, I guess. I don't fucking know. It just pisses me off.
Yeah, entirely understandable. And so you see where you get to that point and you're just like, oh, well, maybe I can go have a nice dinner every now and again. And it's just like, but you can only do that so much before you fuck yourself. And trying to find that little bit of happiness.
Yeah.
Early Friday. So there is a barbecue place near where I work, and it's called Steamboat Barbecue. Mm-hmm. And they have been in national competitions and that kind of stuff, and they cook amazingly. And so I went in there on the way home. I called Sachi, and I was like, I'm going to bring home some barbecue. Don't worry about cooking. I'm going to bring home some barbecue. I spent $100 on barbecue.
Oh, my gosh.
But I got, like, a pound of the brisket. I got a pound of the pulled pork. I got 4 bottles of really good like cream soda and root beer and that kind of stuff, like gourmet shit,
Right.
And so I got like, a couple of different sides, like two of like five different sides, cornbread, and and
Right.
all of this stuff is fucking super amazing. Why
Oh.
did I? Why did? Why did I end up buying all of this food? For the leftovers. That's why I ended up buying all of this food, so I could have this stuff to eat later on. And so, yeah, the sides were gone almost immediately, but then when I've been nibbling on the stuff, the brisket and the pork, the pulled pork, for the last couple of days because it's fucking good. And so I was able to get some of the sauces and that kind of stuff, and yeah, it was just really nice to have a good brisket sandwich and pulled pork sandwich with really good fucking sauces, and it was like melt in your mouth shit, and I just fucking loved it. It was really good stuff, and so I really enjoyed them. So, but you end up doing stuff like that, and that'll be the time that we order food, and it'll be for a while. So that's what we ended up doing is just having that. We're gonna chew on that barbecue for a couple of more days. So
I need you to know, first off, I'm really fucking hungry. So just listening to you to describe amazing barbecue is not helping me. I'm
I
drinking
wanna
sweet tea, by the way.
I wanna guzzle some of those sauces. They've got this Carolina honey mustard. I I just want I just want to smear that shit on my body. It's so good.
I thought you were gonna say your balls for some reason. I don't know.
You
Barbecue
know,
balls.
barbecue balls is great. However, it's one of these things where it's like, have you ever done food play? It's super sticky afterwards. I fucking hate food play. Food play is gross. It really
Um,
is. I just think we just found the thing barbecue balls.
yeah, that's definitely the title of this episode, unless we hit something even better, but you never know. No, okay, so I like food play. I don't have a huge amount of experience in, but I do like a little bit of warm honey. Like, it can be sticky, but just like a little bit, and not on the genitals. You don't want to put sugar near the genitals. That's not good. But like
Ugh.
on the body, warm honey's nice. Whipped cream and making like a fucking human sundae is hilarious. Like, it's messy, but it's
It's
funny.
sticky as shit.
It is, but warm honey and licking it off, very sensual. Just in case you need it. I feel like I need to add like some sex ed tips every week now. Let's do it. Don't put barbecue sauce on your balls, probably.
Don't put barbecue sauce in your balls. I'm just saying, if you've got a cut or something like that, if you've nicked yourself shaving, the acid and that kind of stuff, and some of the barbecue sauces, if they use vinegar, yikes.
Oh god.
So, but anyways, so anyways, we do this stuff. The reason why I was babbling like that again is because Eric received another phone call, so that's how come I was babbling off at the mouth about getting leftovers. About getting leftovers. So anyways, I order food now when we go out or when we go to a restaurant, we order enough for leftovers to nibble off of for a couple of days so we can enjoy it more. If you're gonna spend the money, I think that for us, it's worth it to just get enough so you can bring stuff home and have another meal with it.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of barbecue, okay, so I fucking love barbecue. I mean, I'm from the South, but I love brisket also. Um, and so I was at Walmart because I fucking shop at Walmart because I'm poor as fuck, and that's just where I go.
You got to do
Anyway,
what you got to do, even though how much I fucking hate Walmart.
I know it's terrible. It's a terrible company, but there's not really any alternatives, to be honest.
No, there's not.
Like the dollar store, I don't like what. I mean, you can't get
You
the same
can't
shit
really
there.
get shit out of dollar store, anyways. You get
Yeah,
some cereal and shit out of dollar store, and some PB and J and some bread, but that's
yeah.
really about it. Anyways,
And then well, so there are some grocery stores that are good alternatives, but there are absolutely none here. Like in the South, there's some that have like good deals. Here, they're fucking expensive as hell to go to a different grocery store. They're fucking expensive. Anyway, um, But I was at Walmart getting some brisket, and I just look at the tag, right? And the tag said like $14. And I was like, oh, wow, that's a lot of meat for $14. And then, of course, it was $14 a pound, but they didn't list it like that. And I didn't look at the back. And then I ended up spending like $40. Got hella brisket though, but it was like, wow, I was a surprise. Thankfully, I'm at a point where like at the register, I didn't have to say, gotta put that back. But I have brisket for days, and then I have some in my freezer too. So
yeah, there you go. Slow cooker.
Mm-hmm.
Slow cooker. So Sachi didn't understand the slow cooker madness that I have. You can fucking slow cook something, let it cool off, put it in the freezer, and break it out when you're ready to have some more, So so Eric got another whatchamacallit. So anyways, I love cooking on the slow cooker. You can make bad meat or lower quality meat be better. So we'll do the stuff with like cube steak and then make a stew or a chili. Man, I love me a good chili. And so we'll do that with stuff like that, stews and chilies. And I love doing that stuff. It's really good. It saves up on the money. But that is if you've got a freezer to put it in. Most apartments have only got a small freezer. And so having a small freezer. Eric, the small freezer, you probably only got a small freezer in your apartment, right? So you really can't freeze a whole lot of stuff?
Yeah, like the standard fridge size one.
Yeah. So you got a little small freezer above yours, and there, that sucks because you really can't. I was babbling on about doing slow cooker and stuff and saving stuff for the long term, for longer term for a couple of weeks. But if you don't have much of a freezer, then if you make a crock pot full of chili that you want to keep, it's hard to keep those leftovers for a long time. And so one of the things I did when I lived in my shitty little apartment, and I still got it, is I bought a slightly smaller than standard size, but it's all just a freezer. And I bought a freezer, and it cost me a couple of $100, but it was worth it. And so it was worth it for the apartment. So we could get frozen food and keep frozen food other than a couple of square feet or, maybe a square meter of frozen stuff, which is shit. You can put a couple of frozen pizzas in there, and that's really about it.
Yeah, my freezer's really full. My fridge is pretty empty, but my freezer's full because like stuff in there always lasts. And I find myself really struggling. I'm one person, so I struggle. It's hard to cook for one person, and it's hard to buy stuff for one person because things don't come for one person usually. And like fresh food, I just struggle with like keeping it and using it before it goes bad because like I don't know, I buy a fucking head of lettuce and I'm like, am I gonna eat a whole head of lettuce in 3 days before it goes bad? Probably not. I have to really push myself to eat a hella salads, And like I bought a watermelon. Why would I buy a watermelon as one person? Because I wanted watermelon and it was on sale, but I'm not gonna eat a whole goddamn watermelon ever before it goes bad.
Do they sell like the parts of watermelon? Like half watermelon, quarter watermelon. But you end up spending more for that than you would a whole watermelon.
Yeah, you do. Like you can get like a small piece of watermelon for like $2, but they had the whole watermelon for like $3.50. So I was like, fuck, let's just get it and eat what I can. But then I didn't eat much of it. It's frustrating.
It's great for a party. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, if you're going to a barbecue, oh yeah, I bought a watermelon.
Yeah.
People at first are like, what the fuck? Because you only spent like $3, but then they eat the shit out of the watermelon because it's basically fucking water.
Yeah. And I had bought it with intentions to share it with people like during D&D, but then none of the people that came liked watermelon, and I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? So now it's just me. Anyway.
That sucks.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like wasting food. I try not to. So.
No, I hate wasting food. If I'm someplace, like I haven't done it in a while because people actually get a little bit crazy about this, and I get it. where I remember I was like, when I was still in Japan, I went to Taco Bell and I had alligator eyes and bunny rabbit ass when it came to eating this amount of food that I had. I way over ordered. And I had 2 extra tacos. And it took me like 5 minutes of asking people, do you want these tacos? They're free. I just can't eat them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, and if you say, I haven't done anything to them, I'm just not hungry, people look at you funny.
Right.
And I'm like, look, man, I just hate throwing away good food. Do you want 2 free tacos? Or take 1? Do you know what I'm saying? I hate throwing away food. I do. And now, like, I can come and bring food home and put it in the refrigerator, that kind of stuff, and I'll get to it later. I think Sachi ends up eating more of my leftovers than I do.
I need a person that eats my leftovers because I'm not super good about eating leftovers, to be honest. Unless it's something like fucking delicious. I'm like, do I even really want that? You know? But yeah, I struggle with leftovers, which is unfortunate.
So, but yeah, I hope you catch what I'm throwing here. It's just that.
No, okay. So I hate wasting food and I'm super fucking resourceful. I like free shit. Like whenever I can get free shit, I get free shit, right?
Oh, if it's free, it's for me. Absolutely.
Right. Yes. Oh, yes, queen. Anyway. So I was going through the drive-thru at Bojangles back in North Carolina like last year, and somebody had dropped their whole meal out of like the drive-thru window, and it was just sitting there in a box. I was like, fuck, that's a free meal. Hello. I just picked it up. And it was fine. There was no bugs on it. It was in the box. I just took the whole thing. It was chicken strips and like dirty rice. And it was a great day for me. So I got 2 meals for the price of 1. Okay. And they looked at me really funny. And I was like, look, it was there. I feel like it hasn't been there that long. You guys just started serving lunch. Like, whatever. It was great. And then another time I was at Walmart and it was a Walmart. I'm on all these Walmart stores. And it was a Walmart with a Burger King inside. And somebody had left a Burger King bag in their cart. And I opened the bag and there was like a wrapped chicken sandwich. And I was like, I highly doubt someone probably just forgot their sandwich, right? And it was still warm. And I was like, fuck, free chicken sandwich. So I got it and I ate it and I was fine. Anyway. Yeah. So I think somebody just forgot it, you know?
Don't get me wrong. I understand, like if somebody's giving out free food, maybe they don't want something, but I was still in the Taco Bell. Right. And I'm like, look, I just can't eat these 2 tacos.
Yeah, no, I mean, that makes perfect sense. Like, I've done similar stuff, especially if I'm with friends. I'm like, please just eat my food. Like, I can't, That's why I like having.
I didn't know these people from anybody, but at the same point, it's like we're all authorized to be on base. It's not like I'm some, random person off the street. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It was the Taco Bell is not in Japan. It's only on base.
Right.
In Japan. So, but here I am, an American in the American base at Taco Bell. I'm like, I just can't eat this. Somebody want a free taco. Right. Wouldn't it just make logical sense that somebody just like over ordered and couldn't eat it and didn't want to throw it away? I just don't see why this is such a big deal, where people be like, you also, I think, have to have some trust that people aren't going to mess with your food. And so I get that. And I know that people would fuck with people just to fuck with people. Yeah. But I think that's fucked up, though, too. It's like...
Yeah. I think also it might be an American type thing. Like, Americans seem to be very germophobic and like they don't like sharing anything. Yeah. Like, if you go to other places, people are like grabbing food off the same plate, sharing food, like...
Yes.
I mean... Maybe not the most hygienic stuff, but like people are fine. They don't die most of the time.
Like I've mentioned many times about Spain where, they did, the tapas where people, everybody ordered 2 or 3 different small items and everybody shared off of them. You had your own plate, but the tapas items were placed in the center, were served kind of family style, took a scoop, put it on your plate and then ate from that. I don't see what the problem is with that. People do this at home every day.
Yeah.
It's like when mom cooked or whatever, do they really think she's making, burgers with gloves on her hands and all that kind of stuff? hell, we're lucky she didn't wipe her nose. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Right.
pick her nose, and I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? I mean, people even at home, people at home aren't exactly sometimes the most hygienic, and I get
No.
that. I get that. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think people are intentionally out there going, "Here, have a burger."
Right. Yeah. I mean, it is really interesting when we look at how people will prepare food in their homes and then they go out to a restaurant and expect it to be like super hygienic, which
Well,
like
don't get me
yes,
wrong. I understand about restaurant hygiene to keep the restaurant
well
clean,
yes,
but you don't expect somebody to scratch their face or pick their nose and then go to prepping your burger. I get that. Wash your hand.
yeah, well yeah, it's important and we don't want to spread stuff, but I
But
just
you
think it's
understand what I'm
funny how people freak out over little things.
saying. Yeah.
But yeah.
So, anyways,
Anyway,
I want to talk about our trader in chief, who has done some incredibly, horrifyingly hilarious shit this week. And so, coming from the evangelicalistic background, the evangelicalism, ooh, long word. Um, I still don't get how anybody supports this fucking monkey boy. I don't fucking get it. He said this week, I am the chosen one, tried to buy Greenland, and there isn't a day when he isn't a fucking national joke. But one of the things, the reason why I bring up evangelicalism is that he said that he was the chosen one. And you've got people out there who think that Donald Trump was destined by God to be the president, to restore the balance and all that kind of stuff. People are saying this shit. And
mhm.
so he said that he was a chosen one. And chosen one for what? To be the president for 4 or 8 years and then go? What are they expecting? It's Schrodinger's patriot at the same time. Some of these people are stockpiling weapons against their own government, yet at the same time, they're incredibly patriotic. Which one is it? It can't be both. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, and the people who, I'm just saying, I see more fascism out of the Republicans than I ever did out of the liberal. Out of the conservatives are way more fascist than more communist than the liberals than the Republicans claim the liberals to be, the Democrats. The Democrats are not fucking socialist and they're fucking worried about it. And Mitch McConnell said that he wanted to basically get rid of fucking Medicare. He wants to tax Medicare basically out of existence, and they want to take like $1 trillion from it and all that kind of stuff. And so all these poor people, Republicans who are voting, are generally speaking older. Very few, numerically speaking, are say 50 or younger.
Mhm.
And so I'm just saying it's like they're voting in their own disinterest. And I don't understand. What was it? You don't have to be a racist, sexist, misogynist asshole to be a Trump supporter, but it sure does help.
Yeah.
So I just don't see how these people are doing it. There is no wolf whistle or dog whistle anymore. It's just out in the open. And so, did you see what they were doing? That they actually arrested people for having large debts or having debts?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, that was change hats to the detective's corner. So they're basically arresting people for having debts now. You can't do that according to the law. It's illegal. Debtor's prison.
Yeah.
Wow, no.
Like what? Like any kind of debt? What kind of like? How is
This
that
was
even
student
working?
loan. This was student loan debt. They were arresting people for student loan debt. And one of the debts was as small as $1,800, I heard.
What the fuck?
Granted, it was outstanding. It had been outstanding for like 30 years or 20 years or something like that. It had been outstanding, but it was $1,800.
Wow.
And so I'm glad I don't have student loans. I was able to avoid that with the GI Bill and that kind of stuff. So I was able to get a job after college pretty quickly. But I know that I'm lucky. And
Yeah.
so I didn't, I was able to work some stuff. But there's a lot of people out there with a lot of student debt. And if they're arresting people for having debts now, debtor's prison, what are we going to? I don't understand what these conservative Christians who want a Christian theocracy, and they are saying it loudly and proudly now that they want it, a white Christian theocracy. I don't understand. They are all seeing themselves as poor, mildly inconvenienced rich people who happen to be poor at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand how they get that.
I have absolutely no idea.
With wages being kept artificially low and all that kind of stuff, I just don't understand it. We need to stop making the shareholder. Yang said this in the last presidential debate. Andrew Yang, who's a presidential candidate for the Democrats, said that we need to stop making the shareholder the most important and have the stakeholder be the most important. Stop worrying so much about profits for the company, which is important, but it shouldn't be the overriding thing. If people can't buy your product, then what's the point of making your product?
Right.
Ford said that, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Ford, the car maker.
Yeah. It's a true statement. Like, I don't know. Everything's fucked up, you know?
I know. I feel like we're beating the fucking same dead horses all the time, and for that I'm sorry, but it's just what it is.
Yeah.
On a happy note, I was kind of scary and funny. We'll totally get off that point for a while. So the weather has been beautiful here in Fat Man Funny Annex, and it's been gorgeous. It's been in the 70s here, and so Sachi opened up the window this morning, but realized that the screen wasn't in the spot where she opened, and two of our kitties made the great escape, and Marble tried. Cooper made the great escape. Sammy made the great escape, and Marble was in the window. I was just sitting down, turned on the TV, was scratching my nuts for a second, and I look over and see Marble in the window when Sachi yelled, and so she ran over and got him.
Oh my God.
And we ran outside and corralled the other two.
Shoot.
So, yeah, we had two. And then I've got a couple of scratches on my arm. Nobody can see them, but I've got like 3 from a back claw back by my elbow and 2 in the front because Marble and Sammy were chasing each other around, and Marble scratched the shit out of me when he landed directly on my arm with his claws.
Oh my God.
I love the little orange boy. His birthday, I think, is this week.
Oh,
happy year-old.
Happy birthday.
Happy so birthday cute. To Marble. So.
Segue.
Segue.
It was just my birthday last week.
Happy birthday, Eric. 26, right?
25.
25.
Yeah.
So there's now nothing you cannot do in the U.S.
Yeah.
Except for join the military.
Well, you know, that's fine. Also, I got a dope ass haircut recently.
I like that line at your part. Yeah. I like that. Did they shave that in?
Yeah, it's a nice hard part.
I like it.
It's beautiful. And I'm working on growing this out because I want to do a top knot.
Nice.
Yeah, but nice shave all around. Anyway, but yeah, my birthday, turned 25 on the 17th. Listen, I don't drink much because, one, I have severe trauma from alcohol, from my parents being alcoholics. So it took me until age 24 to actually drink for the first time. 2, it makes me feel like shit, and I don't hold it well. 3, I always end up crying and vomiting.
But I'm a loving drunk.
Well,
I'm saying for me, I'm a loving drunk. I'm always I love you, man. I'm a huggy drunk.
yeah, I mean, now that I've been drunk a few times, I can say that I am happy. I'm not mad or violent or anything. I'm happy and I'm like, yeah, I love you guys too. Like I'm always like, "Oh my God, I'm so glad we're friends," and blah blah blah. Like, so that's me.
Spring break.
Yeah, so that's me. So I'm glad that to know that I am happy and not not I'm not a violent person at all, so I don't see where I would be. But my parents were very violent, so I was scared about that, you know? And I'm still scared about like becoming an alcoholic and blah blah blah, you know, not that I think that'll happen, but I'm just it's a scary thing. But anyway, so my birthday was on Saturday. So on Friday, I went to get the person I'm seeing, that I'm dating, kind of. And so we went out for dinner, and I had my first drink there. Got a giant pina colada, had that and dinner, big dinner. That was about 5 or 6 p.m. Came home after going to buy a lot of alcohol, and had a rum and coke. Had a couple of Mike's Hard Lemonades through the night, like spaced it out. Then we went outside for a smoke. Well, I don't smoke. My person smokes, and we were just standing out there. And then my neighbor pulls up. And if you're following this and you've been listening to my story, listen, okay, this is the neighbor that I said we were gonna fall in love with. Okay, I said he was gonna fall in love with me and it was gonna work because it was destiny. Because he lives right above me. Okay, and he's gay. It was perfect. Anyway, so we were friends, and then we kind of stopped talking for a while because he got a boyfriend, and now he's single again. So we're talking again, and we're friends now. So yay! Anyway, so he pulls up, and he's like, "Yo, it's almost your birthday. We should do tequila shots." And I'm like, "Oh God, tequila!" But I still have tequila from when I bought it last time. Oh my God. Anyway,
Tequila does not go bad, so you're good.
well, no, I mean, yeah, that's not the issue. The issue is I really just tequila fucks me up. So anyway, we come in, it makes me gag. Anyway, so we come in, it's about almost midnight, and we're like, we're gonna do tequila shots at midnight for my birthday. And then I was like, shit, I was born an hour outside of this time zone. We already missed it. So anyway, we're like, fuck it, let's go. It's like 11:58, and then we do a tequila shot. And this was the first time I ever used salt. I've always ever done it straight, but I was like,
Look
I'm
at
not
Slam
sure.
It, Suck It.
Yeah, so I was like, what? So we figured it out. Yeah. So I did it anyway, and I did a shot, and I didn't vomit. And then we were just all drinking, like Mike's Hard Lemonade and rum and cokes and stuff. Because you should always mix all of your alcohol.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
If it's not psychedelic colored vomit, you haven't been trying.
Woo! Yeah, and I've had a few pieces of bread through the evening to keep it up, but at this point it's like past midnight, and we're still drinking. Then we start playing Cards Against Humanity. It's me and my neighbor and my person I'm seeing, and we're all hanging out, and we're still drinking. And then my neighbor keeps pushing. He's like, "Oh, let's do more tequila shots," and I'm like, "God damn it!" And then toxic masculinity alert. He's like, "Don't be a pussy, Eric," and I'm like, "God damn it! I can't back down from a challenge, right?" I'm an idiot. Listen, toxic masculinity. Anyway, so
Seriously, that is such a toxic masculinity. What's up, bro? You can't hang, bro? You got no balls, bro?
It
What's
is.
the matter? You got a fucking vagina, bro?
It is. And I was like, obviously I have a lot to prove because I don't have a dick and I like you and you're gay and I know I still have I'm dating this person and they like me and stuff and it's fine. But fuck you because I gotta prove that I'm good enough, you know? Even if I don't have a dick. God damn it. Anyway, so yeah, and I throughout the night I ended up doing more tequila shots, and then at the end, I know when it's been too much is when I grabbed the bottle, and I grabbed the bottle, and I was like, "Fuck you guys, I could do it," and I just grabbed the bottle.
Glub, glub, glub.
No, I didn't glub. It was just one shot, but
anyway. I was I in Tijuana? Yeah, I was in Tijuana. I went with my friend Chris too, and a couple of other people. We went down to Tijuana. This was stationed in San Diego. Senor Frogs, I think, might have been the name of the place. I don't know. It was some fucking bar restaurant on Revolution Avenue in Tijuana. There's an old Simpson episode where he went to Tijuana, the happiest place on earth, you know, and they're fucking, you know, there is a donkey show there in Tijuana. There's at least when I was there 20 years ago. Well, 25 years ago now. Anyway, so they did this thing where this guy's walking around with a fucking whistle and he's blowing and they fucking do this thing. They pull your head back, throw a towel across your neck, and start pouring tequila down your throat. And so I was actually actively drinking at this point. And so most of the time, normally when the people's mouth fills up, the guy takes the towel from your neck, puts it over your mouth, and shakes you around while you swallow it. Right?
Oh my God.
Now, me, I did the open up my throat, let it pour down the glug, glug, glug.
Oh.
I saw this guy's eyes go wide when I did this for the third time, going for the fourth. And my friend Chris, who was with me, and my other friends were like, because I did that a couple of times. I was like, just like swallowing the tequila. And so finally, after like 3 minutes of this, he just put the towel over my face and shook me around and that kind of stuff. It's like, I've done the bottle down the throat of tequila before. I've done it. So,
all
yeah.
I can imagine is you sucking a dick now.
Thanks, Eric. I appreciate that.
Just kidding. Hey.
Yeah.
There's nothing
So
wrong with sucking dick.
No, I didn't say there was. And I'm just saying, I think it's fine. And I've done it because I was, anyways, when I was sexually assaulted. So, anyways.
Okay. Oh my God. I wasn't trying to trigger you. Jesus.
Sorry.
I was being gay.
I know.
I sucked dick this weekend, and I don't really like sucking dick. Actually, because I was sexually assaulted. Also, oh my God, did I share that yet? I mean, not the sexual assault, but childhood memories came up, and childhood sexual assault came up. Like, I knew about the high school stuff because I had a very abusive boyfriend who made me suck his dick all the time, and it was terrible, which is why I never liked sucking dick now. But I think I've gotten over that finally, and now I can suck dick, and it is fine most of the time. But childhood stuff has come up, and like I remembered some childhood sexual assault, and it's like really fucked up. Anyway, fun stuff from when I was like 2 or 3.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's really fucked up, man. And I've been dealing with that for like the past month, and I think I finally processed it, some of it, but it's like a lot.
It takes time. So
yeah,
let's get off of that.
Wait.
Because I'm okay.
Well, off of that, yes, but I want to go back to my birthday because I wasn't done.
Go back to your birthday.
Jesus, birthday. Okay, so we were all drinking a lot, and then we all ended up cuddling, and it was really cute.
Oh, how cute.
I know. Also, we went outside again for a smoke, and
I'm glad you don't let people smoke in your apartment. Because if you're not a smoker, especially if you got friends over who smoke, there's always that thing of like, hey man, can I smoke? It's like, no.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? It's that peer pressure to let your friends smoke in your apartment. It's like, or your house or whatever.
mm-hmm.
And it's like, no, go outside.
Yeah, no, that's gross. I don't need places smelling of smoke.
And especially because, like me, you've got cloth furniture,
mm-hmm.
and so it sucks up the smell too.
Yeah. So we were outside for a smoke. This is probably like 1, 2, 3 a.m. I don't know. And the way my apartment building is, there's my apartment building, and then right across it, there's another apartment building, the same complex. And like one of the neighbors was out on their balcony, and we were just being really loud because we were really drunk. And then my neighbor's like, look at my tits, and I'm like, what? Then I'm like, look at my tits. And of course, I'm the only, like, they might have like man boobs, and I have real man boobs. So I'm like, look at mine, bitch. And I'm like, just because I have big boobs doesn't mean I'm not a man. And I was just like going off. And then I'm sure the neighbor was just like watching us, like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys?
Wow.
It was hilarious. Anyway, and then so we came back inside. We were cuddling and playing Cards Against Humanity, and my neighbor held my hand, and I just want to talk about this. Me and my person that I'm dating, we were very communicative, and we were like, is this okay? Is it okay? Blah, blah, blah. Because we had never talked about like any openness at all, because he made it very clear he wants monogamy, and I'm like, that's cool. But yeah, so it was really cute, and yeah, communication, and things can be okay and talked about. Anyway, so after that, after I went and get glug glug, I went to the bathroom pretty much immediately after that, and I was there for a solid hour or so, vomiting and crying, and I cried so much because I can't cry normally, And I think that's partially testosterone, partially just emotional issues. So, and I was just like, I've never cried that much probably. And I cried for like an hour, and it was really good because like in the past month, I have uncovered that horrible memories and stuff. And I like really needed to cry for that. And like getting over my ex, I really needed to cry for that. So I just got it all out, and I felt so light the next day. I felt very hungover, but I was so light. It was so good. So I encourage you all to cry, and also
Electrolytes.
and have friends that will take care of you if you decide to get very drunk, because they brought me water and stuff, and it was hilarious because
Gatorade. Deal with the sugar, but get Gatorade. You need the electrolytes, especially after a good hangover when you've been vomiting. You need the electrolytes. So keep some Gatorade powder in your house.
I should, yeah. I'll go get some. But while I was vomiting, they were bringing me water. They were like, "This is your fault because you didn't eat enough and you drank too much." And I'm like, "You kept pressuring me." Anyway, but yeah, it was a great time. That was how I rung in my 25th year.
Nice.
Which beats how I rung in my 24th year. We won't even go there. Thanks for listening, Matthew.
You're welcome, Eric. Anytime. So, I'm prepping for. I think we're going to be going away from to get off of all this shit. We're talking about D&D. I think I'm pretty much going away from 3.5 and going to Pathfinder.
Okay.
Because the guys that I'm with, they always go for like the same set of characters. If you're going to run an archer, run this kind of archer. If you're going to go for a fighter, run this kind of fighter. And, they're dipping in different classes. Like, first thing, you got to start off with a level of barbarian to get the rage. And then you go to this to do this kind of fighting. And then, you know what I'm saying? Whatever kind of fighter that you're going to do. And so we're going to Pathfinder because I think they're finding it harder to break with the Pathfinder. Mm-hmm. And so the only time I've come even close, like, and actually it wasn't even me. I had this guy's son. I talked about this guy and his kid who comes to D&D, and his wife is absolutely uninterested, but she comes because her husband does it. Mm-hmm. And so they helped me with this character to build my Weapon of Legacy fighter. But that's the only one that I've actually kind of built by myself. I don't like doing the dip into this and the dip into that. It's like you're trying to game the system. And so I understand that that's the system and you can game it. And if you know enough, you can do shit and all. I get it, right? Mm-hmm. But it's like Pathfinder has got this thing where if you stick in a particular character class, you get bonuses for sticking in particular character classes. They're trying to break the dip into this, dip into that kind of stuff. And to be honest, I never really liked that stuff to begin with. I mean, I think before I got into this group, the most broken character I had a paladin guy who was also I went from paladin to like a martial character to knight. Mm. And so it was like the knight subclass or the knight class. So I did like 6 levels of paladin to get the steed and then went to knight and then was working off of knight because paladins and knights are very close in 3.5. So I myself am just not a big fan of trying to break a character. It's like, it's just like, I understand, like the guy that I'm running now, the Weapon of Legacy Master, I can see the progression. Barbarian, Cleric, Paladin. You can see how somebody would do that. Was a barbarian running wild, went to the church, they taught him education, and then became a paladin of the group, and now he's a champion of Corellian Lorathan. So he's as elfy as you can get elfy. So he is the ultimate elf. And so if we go high enough in this campaign, when I finish Champion of Corellian, I'm going to go back to being a paladin and advance the paladin because he's only got 6 levels of paladin. So I'm going to advance the paladin. And so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm thinking for Pathfinder, I'm just going to keep very simple. I'm just going to do like, fighter, paladin, knight, whatever character class trips my boat at the time. And unless I find something to do, like totally, oh, well, I'll take this class to get this one, to get this, feat or whatever. I just don't think I do you see what I'm trying to say? I just
Yeah.
don't think of trying to break a character class. I'm just trying to go into a character class and develop the character in the game that we're currently running, and not trying to go the whirling master dervish of death or whatever, who's
Right.
got, do you know what I'm trying to say? I mean,
Yeah. I like focusing on the role play of a character a lot. Like it's cool to be able to do cool shit, but I like focusing more on like, hey, I am a bard and that's where I'm at. And like I also do like I like feats if your DM lets you play with feats, because then you can gain a couple of like, I can't remember how I did it,
well,
but there's
feats are important. They're
yeah,
actually how you do the cool shit in the game is
right.
feats.
So like I think I prefer feats over necessarily multi-classing unless it makes a lot of sense.
Well, the multi-class opens you up for different feats so you can break the character.
Right. But if you stay in the feats you can use, I think you can still do a really bomb-ass character. Like my bard right now, I just use some feat to get like some wizard spells or something, and like so I can do like fireball now, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah.
And
Well,
like,
I can see
oh,
doing like barbarian fighter for that rage is kind of cool. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? But not all fighters are barbarians. And if you start off first level, if you go by the rules, I mean, you can also eliminate any rules that you don't like and all that kind of stuff. But if you start off as a first level barbarian, depending on where you are, you may not be able to read. Do you know what I'm saying? I
right,
mean, you may not be able to, especially with older versions. If you start out as a barbarian, you might not like magic at all.
yeah,
I mean,
true,
3.5, 3.0, and 3.5 got rid of those restrictions. But I'm just saying, it's like I can see that. And so this is why, you know, the fighter who is all about bows isn't necessarily going to be a barbarian. Do you know what I'm saying? Because you
yeah,
can be a fighter who's a long range guy and just take some, like, there was like a bow guy who uh in the group that I'm going, he could either do massive damage with one shot or he could pepper you with
mm-hmm.
a lot of shots. Do you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? It all depended on the situation. I mean, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. But he was pretty much, I mean, he did all this different stuff. But do you kind of see what I'm saying? It's like, why not be a fighter and just concentrate on doing the bow or doing
mm-hmm.
the long sword? You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Or the two weapon guy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's kind of what I'm doing with this Weapon of Legacy guy, is I'm just concentrating on making my skill with that double-ended weapon the best that he can be. And
yeah,
I've only got, well, technically it's 4 classes. And I think it's fucking ridiculous that I had to do it that way. But in order to be the Weapon of Legacy master, I needed to do it that way because I needed this from this and that from that. And I needed to have a certain amount of skill points. And going straight fighter wasn't going to let me do it because cross classing would have been a fucking bitch.
mm-hmm. So sorry to go back to a subject. I'm just thinking about like I'm still new to drinking, but tequila definitely makes me cry. Rum, when I got drunk off of rum, I did not cry.
Try it a couple of more times later on to see if you're like that. To see if you're like that, to see if it's actually a trait that you have or if it's just something, like, which, or if it's something that was situational.
Right.
So, although I do have a mental block myself with peach schnapps, I can't
Yeah.
drink peach schnapps again because I got violently ill off of peach schnapps when I turned 20. When I was 20, I drank a shit ton of peach schnapps, and I can drink schnapps, just not peach. The smell of it makes me want to go, oh.
Yeah, no, tequila, the smell of it makes me gag, but I'm surprised I drank more of it.
That was 30 years ago, and I haven't had peach schnapps since 1992.
Wow.
So, yeah,
Anyway.
especially I was coming home from Boiler Tech A school, and I was still in my blues and threw up all over my dress blue pants and my shoes.
Nice.
I did. True story.
It's weird how you can make such good memories and terrible memories. Good stories, but bad memories and good memories from alcohol. It's very interesting. I think I'm coming to the game. I mean, I'm coming to the game late, but
you're coming to the game for you. Don't worry
Yeah.
about late or that kind of stuff. It is what it is. You had to deal with your shit, and everybody is always dealing with their own shit. So don't
True.
worry about it. There's somebody who I know who was through college. I knew him in college. Was always like he was into like martial arts and all that kind of stuff. And when he joined the Marines, I'm still friends with him and his wife on Facebook. He's turned into like every weekend drinking and that kind of stuff and doesn't really exercise with the martial arts anymore like he used to. And it's like, it's also kind of the stigmatism of, you know, being 21 years old and in the Marines, you're going to fucking drink a lot. And I think it's really kind of sad. You don't have to.
Yeah, for sure.
So
you never have to do anything you don't want to do.
Exactly.
And yeah, that was a good point. Anyway, ready for some Trump?
Let's do some Trump. So anyways, for those who don't know, I'm going to give 3 cards and we're going to see, and each card will have 2 quotes. One will be Trump. Oh my God. Quote number 1, card 1.
Oh God.
I still love her, but she's retarded too. Quote number 1.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
Okay.
Quote number 2. Do you mind if I sit back a little? Because your breath is very bad. It really is.
I mean, it could be either of those, if we're being honest.
Yes. This one is going to be difficult. I will give you a round of applause if you get this one right.
I'm going to go with the second one.
You think the second one is Trump?
Yeah.
A round of applause.
Thank you.
The first one, I love her, but she's retarded too. Guy Ritchie.
All right.
He was married to Madonna, I think, for a short while.
Oh. I wouldn't be surprised if Trump said that anyway, but...
No, not at all. Okay. Card 2, quote 1. The concept of shaking hands is absolutely terrible, and statistically, I've been proven right.
All right.
Quote 2. People are always backing up when I just go to shake their hands.
Number 1.
God, are you fucking reading these beforehand?
You know, I had to prepare somehow.
The concept of shaking hands is absolutely terrible, and statistically I've been proven right. He's never been proven right on anything ever in his fucking life.
No, but it sounded like something he would say.
It was. People are always backing up when I'm just going to shake their hands. James Caan, the actor.
I don't know who that is.
Kind of a scumbag.
Oh. Well. Can we go 3 for 3?
Can we go 3 for 3? Quote number 1. I realize that my place and position in history is that I will go down to the voice of this generation, of this decade. I will be the loudest voice. Quote 1.
Mm-hmm.
Quote 2. In the 2nd grade, I actually gave a teacher a black eye. I punched my music teacher because I didn't think he knew anything about music.
Number 2.
God, you are reading these. That was Trump.
Number 1 it didn't sound right.
Yeah. I actually don't think he gave a teacher a black eye, although he might have. Maybe not in the 2nd grade. But with his dad, who knows? His dad was definitely pushing on him. You don't grow sociopaths. You make them.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways. So what is 2nd grade? 8 years old?
Yeah. I mean, maybe he was flailing around and accidentally punched a teacher.
Maybe. I realize that my place and position will go down in history is that I will go down as the voice of this generation of this decade. I will be the loudest voice. Kanye West.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
Well, it's funny because I just got finished watching the TV show. There was a documentary kind of docudrama on HBO, The Loudest Voice, and it was about Roger Ailes and how many people he was sexually assaulting over the years.
Wow.
And Fox News in particular was concentrating on Fox News, but it's actually a really good TV show. I actually recommend it if you can find some way to watch it. The Loudest Voice.
Okay.
And Russell Crowe actually was playing Roger Ailes, and he did a really great job. He made me think he was Roger Ailes. It was kind of fucking scary. So,
just like a super side point, but like just about having a voice. I feel like, I'm very loud and proud of being trans, right?
Yeah.
And I'm very educational, and it takes a lot of energy and a lot of effort to do that. I went to the doctor recently because I want to get on some anxiety medicine, I think, or try it out and see how I feel because, like, I'm fucking going crazy and I don't like it. But so I went to the doctor for, like, the pre-psychiatry visit, so they just needed, like, all my basic information. And it was at the place I go to counseling for, so they already have a lot of my information and everything that my counselor said, right? First off, I go in, and the first thing they say is they just, like, read his, like, description of things about me. Like, oh, looks like you have sexual, physical, and mental abuse, and you were witness to domestic violence. And I was like, I've never used those words to describe myself. Maybe you shouldn't start out by saying that shit. That's, like, really triggering, right?
Yes.
So that was the first bullshit move they did. Second bullshit move, I'm filling out the information, and it says women only, how many pregnancies? And I was like, that's not trans friendly. So I told them they needed to change that shit. So they were like, all right, we'll change it. And I was like, why do I have to come into a place that's fucking professional and says that they're trans friendly? Like, I have my counselor's trans friendly. Like, they have like fucking safe zone stickers up and shit. And I have to fill out this fucking paperwork that you haven't changed because you don't look at your shit. And like, it's up to me to change it for other trans people. Like, I have to have the voice. But at least I have the voice and I'm willing to speak up. And now that hopefully doesn't have to trigger other people. Like, it didn't really trigger me. Like, I'm just like, this is fucking stupid, Pisses me off.
But at the same point, I entirely understand what you're talking about. It's like, I get it, I can empathize what you're saying here. And it's like, hey, look, this stuff isn't really my trigger, but it might be triggers for other people. What the fuck are you doing? I get it.
Yeah. And it's just like, it shouldn't be my fucking responsibility to tell these professionals what the fuck they're doing wrong. But for some reason it is. And then I told my counselor about it, and he's like, well, that's just the world. And I'm like, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. The world sucks, and I'm going to change it. That's what I told him. Anyway. Yeah, that's how I feel like we should end the show. Fuck this. Fuck the world. We're going to change it as much as we can, and we're going to be happy, and it's going to be all right. And I really appreciate you, Matthew.
I appreciate you too, Eric. My guiding principle that I go by is to try to provide for myself and my family the best way I can. Try to do something nice for people every time I can without injuring myself in the process or going without, and to make the world a little better place every day. That's all I try to do. And so if you try to make the world a little bit better, I think that's pretty much all of us can do. And so that's what I try to do. So yes, I appreciate you too, Eric, and thank you for helping me on this podcast and doing all the stuff and that you do to make the podcast, because the OAF would not be possible without you. So thank you very much.
And it wouldn't be possible without you too. So thank you too. I appreciate you very much, and I'm glad we're friends, and I'm glad we get to talk every week and share this with the world and be really awesome and dumb and funny, and it's great.
And of course, we thank our listeners and our people who give us money too. So thank you to our patrons and our 3 listeners. So thank you very much.
We appreciate you guys.
All right. So we'll speak to you again next time. This is Matthew, and for Eric, this has been the Odd Atheist Friends podcast. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.